Well, good morning, everyone. It's Wednesday, April 12th, 2023. Welcome to Mornings with the Manager. I hope you are all doing fine. Let's just jump into a few items that I hope you find interesting. Um, exactly a week ago, the city of Monterey made some headlines. The airport district was contemplating or is contemplating to award a fire contract to a fire agency that has to be determined yet. Since 2014, the city of Monterey has been providing fire services to the airport. In 2014, the city of Monterey and the airport district entered into an agreement, and we, the city of Monterey, took over and hired all the fire employees working for the airport district at that time. So in 2014, we integrated the firefighters assigned to the airport district into the city of Monterey. They became de facto city employees and have been working since 2014 under a contract with the airport district. In 2018, we sat down with the airport district and negotiated with them a fire contract that actually was very favorable for the airport district because we acknowledged the cost impacts that the contract had on allowing us to leave the airport and service our adjacent neighborhoods located in Deer Flats, Fisherman's Flats, around the Highway 68 corridor, as well as at Ryan Ranch. And it led to a very substantial reduction in cost for the airport district. Right now we have a contract in place with the airport, which acknowledges that we are fully staffed on the airport as required, but it allows us also to respond to service calls in the direct vicinity of the airport. So we increased our fire protection services, our medical response capabilities along the Highway 68 corridor and Ryan Ranch. And in return, of course, the airport got continued coverage of the airport for fire services and a pretty good deal. What happens now is that the airport put out a new request for proposals. The contract is up for renewal, and they elected to not directly renew with us, but basically said, okay, who would like to submit a proposal for us? None of the other public agencies in the region, Cypress Fire, North Monterey County Fire, or CAL Fire, or Seaside Fire, submitted a proposal. Just the city of Monterey, as well as a company based in Green Bay, Wisconsin, named ProTech, that also submitted a cost proposal to the airport district. What you need to understand is that the airport district asked for a proposal that basically it requires the fire team to be stationary on the airport. And based on that, on those economics, and based on the skill set of our firefighters and our compensation, our cost proposal came in higher than what the private company was basically proposing. What that means, in essence, was that the airport district looked at two different proposals a week ago. One was from the city of Monterey for a little over $3 million, I believe $3.1 million, and the other one was from ProTech, based in Green Bay, Wisconsin, that basically was stating that they could do the services for around $1.7 million. Now that's a big difference in cost, and also that's a big difference in cost what we actually currently charge them, because again, the proposal or the request for proposals was written in a way to just keep the work or the fire department, the fire company, based on the airport district and not allow them to service the adjacent areas. Last week, Wednesday, we did an outstanding presentation by our fire chief, and we had a multitude of firefighters showing up and speaking also up on behalf of their colleagues and their own, and reminding the airport district that these are their employees that they are now threatening to lay off in case they want to connect with the private company. The private company Protec also presented, and they had the regional Western chief talk there. He's based in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and his presentation to the board was basically that they could do it for a certain amount of money and be in complete compliance with all the FAA regulations and training requirements. The district board discussed it. In the end, they agreed with our proposal or our request to say, okay, let's sit down and really talk it out, because if you are willing to consider allowing us to continue to serve our neighborhoods and Ryan Ranch, then of course we can provide you with a different price proposal. And kudos go out to also Director Miller, who was speaking about this actually very, very clearly by saying, well, isn't there something that we could do and we jointly could decide that basically keeps the Monterey Fire Department on the airport. All attending directors were very complimentary about our service levels, but in the end, the emphasis was made by them also they want to get a good deal. I'm very confident that we can swing it back towards us. We will be meeting or proposing something to the airport district, and I'm hopeful that this will help us to retain the service levels that we are currently offering on Highway 68 and other areas. At the end of the day, I hope that our neighbors and adjacent neighborhood associations, as well as our partners at Ryan Ranch, also provide some letters of support and also some statements there, and that will be very, very helpful. I want to thank those who already participated in that process and showed up to support us, as well as also sent in emails or letters of support. I know this has a lot of attention in the county, not just in the city. So I just want to say let's keep doing what we are doing, and hopefully the airport district will be the ones who are listening to all the neighbors, to their constituents as well, because those folks that are sitting on the airport district are also elected officials. And I think something has to be said about looking at the pricing, which is totally okay, because you want to ensure that the taxpayers get the best deal, but there's something also to be said about loyalty to your former employees. And last but not least, you get what you pay for, and that's something also the airport district needs to consider. Anyways, I want to thank all those who have supported us, the neighbors who sent in emails, etc. And I hope we can swing the board at the next board meeting. So that's the airport district. I'm not too worried about that. I want to share this with you because I know we have the superior product, and it just is important for us that we can make our points very, very clear. I think it's a great benefit for the region that we have a fire station out there, that we can service Highway 68 corridor, Fisherman Flat, Deer Flat, but also Ryan Ranch. We have a lot of call outs there as well, because we are, believe it or not, first responder for all the medical incidents that happened in those buildings out there, because we are the ones who are allowed to provide first response, first medical response, and mostly in many cases, the fire department is there before the ambulance arrives. So it will be a real service loss, because the cost proposal by ProTech, of course, is so small that they cannot react to offsite calls, and they will not call for they will not be able to deliver mutual aid as we can deliver it. So that's all about the airport district. Keep your eyes and ears open, and if you can, also support us as you have done in the past. Thank you for that. The other element, the other part I wanted to talk about is the budget. We are in the middle of this long budget process, which starts at the end of February, and then we try to create a budget around all the work programs that we have already in place, and also create some room for potentially new work programs or potentially new projects in the city of Monterey. This budget process is made public in a couple of weeks in April, when we are going in front of the council and the public during a study session, and we will provide you with a 35,000 feet overview over the budget. It will be not very detailed yet, because again, this is a process now where then we will listen and hear what the public wants to do, and we will hear also from business interest and others. There are always people then who are speaking up and providing us with input. And of course, last word is what the council wants to do. And once we have heard from them, then we will finalize the whole budget, which we then present the very first time in the first meeting in June. And usually that meeting, the council will have questions, and there will be last minute requests made by some folks who have last minute ideas, also by those who just don't like to hear no. And then taking it from there into the next meeting in June, the second meeting in June, where usually the budget then gets final approved so that we are ready to start on July 1st. This year's budget process is almost the same as last year, but we have learned quite a bit. The economy has stronger rebounded, as we shared with the council in March. Yet we have to consider also what happens for the upcoming recession. Everyone, all the economic experts are very sure, with 100% surety, that they say we will have a recession. They all say it might be very short, and they also all say that it will be painful for a lot. And then the recovery process starts again. The objective of the federal government will be to bring the inflation rate to 2%, and that's the Fed's policy. And in order to get there, they might provide more money restricting measures by raising interest rates. So the inflation rate has not dipped as much as the Fed's expected it to dip. We still have full employment everywhere. You see a lot of layoffs in the Bay Area in high-tech companies. What happened there was basically that during the COVID crisis, or COVID pandemic, a lot of employers held on to their employees. There were reasons for that. Online traffic, internet use increased substantially, but they also kept a lot of employees because at that time already people were electing not to work anymore or going somewhere else. And so there is actually an oversupply in the high-tech industry of employees. And that's what you see is happening right now, that the high-tech industry is shedding quite a bit of employees there that they were kind of stockpiling. Because as you all know, starting in 21, we couldn't get our hospitality businesses couldn't fill their positions anymore, and they had to pay starting hourly wages at $25 to get somebody to wash the dishes. So similar effect was the high-tech folks wanted to keep their employees a little bit longer, and that's what's going on right now. So the recession will be there, according to our to the experts we are listening to. And what does it mean for us? We have to create a budget around some of those predictors to say, well, we will maybe not see as much TOT. Maybe there is a dip in sales tax. How did this all work out? I can share with you that when we had the Great Recession, the one factor that was always surprising us was the sales tax. It was really not dipping. It was really remaining on a higher level. We saw a reduction in overnight TOT, hotel tax, but we saw still people coming to the peninsula. They wanted to get out. They wanted to enjoy our beaches and the wharves and the aquarium, and they wanted to buy something. So sales tax was actually a pretty surprisingly stable income source, whereas we saw really reductions in the hotel tax. So all of that we put together. For the budget, I give you another interesting cost number. Insurance costs have risen for you and for us as well. We paid in fiscal year 1920 about $880,000 overall for city insurances. And by that, I don't talk about healthcare. I'm just talking about insuring buildings, self-insurance. If something happens, we have to pay out, etc. That was in 1920. It was about $880,000, if I remember the number correctly. Currently, we are budgeting for next fiscal year 2.1 million. So it went from 880 to $2.1 million, and we also expect another hike for the following fiscal year. So these are hard market days, as the risk manager explained it to me, and our risk management costs, our insurance costs are really going through the roof. So other issues that you have the same challenges on your side as a resident. Utility costs are going up. We have to budget more for PG&E and CalAm, as well as supply costs have risen also. I shared with you a year ago how our cost in streets went up for just striping cost, doubled. The gallon of paint doubled and is still as high as it was a year ago. So all those things are being contemplated, and also we have to reinvest into our infrastructure, and all that will become part of the first initial presentation in April of this year. So stay tuned. I will look it up quickly. This meeting will be on April 26th, so stand by for that. Next item is next week, Tuesday, is an interesting council meeting that I really want you all to listen to or attend or call in. We will talk about housing, and it will be interesting to hear what the council will say. The council will look at all the housing reports that we have provided over the past 2-3 years. We will try to provide additional verbal information as part of the presentations that we are giving, but we will not dive into every single detail of housing policies or housing suggestion. This will be the time where we basically say there are options A, B, C, D, E out there. Which ones you like to pursue? We worked with the council to again remind them of all the work that was already done to make them quote unquote smarter, or just to refresh their memory. So I really hope the council has done their homework, because you cannot just comprehend everything just on that Tuesday night. You have to read and you have to be smart on a lot of topics. And of course, when push comes to shove, Tuesday is also a great opportunity to ask questions or send staff out to research certain topics more. It's important for you all to dial in and share with the council what you see want to happen. Do you want to go into rent stabilization? Do you want to go into rental registry? Do you want to have a vacancy tax? Is there other ideas out there that folks want to do? We cannot pursue every single one of them at the same time with the same intensity. So it will be, again, a little bit about choices. And let's not forget, parallel, we are also working on the regional housing needs assessment, where we will also set the pace or set some course on additional housing units here in the city of Monterey. So all that culminates on Tuesday, and I really hope you have a chance to listen and to read our agenda report, which will be published on Friday, and then share with us what you want us to do. Speaking about that, our housing survey is still open, and so is also our community wildfire protection plan survey is open. You can access both surveys on haveyoursaymonterey.org. The general plan update housing survey has so far received over 550 responses, and many of them are split into by different neighborhoods. Interesting to see which neighborhood has the most and to see which neighborhood has the least. But we will continue to actively promote this in order to get as much input as possible. I'm sorry. We will publish the spring issue for the City Focus this week. Stand by. There will be over 30 pages filled with a lot of information. We want you to be as smart as we are, and we want to be as transparent as we can be. So please take a moment to really read the City Focus, archive it, because you will also find a lot of phone numbers in there that may help you with concerns that you may encounter later or questions you have later. We are still recovering from the winter storm. Our streets division has done a lot of pothole patching. We are approaching over 200 potholes that we have patched. Don't be surprised if they open up again, because it's also a function of the underground water that is still continuing to flow into Lake El Estero and into the bay and pops up also on the streets. So until it's really, really dry, pothole patching really is a repetitive process, because the wetness from underneath will make potholes reappear again. So just be patient. That's the process. I saw yesterday that former Governor Schwarzenegger patched potholes in his Los Angeles upscale neighborhood with, as he called, part of my team. And if he would live in the city of Monterey, he wouldn't have to do that. So anyways, kudos to our team members who are staying on top of that. If you see something that we haven't addressed, please shoot us an email and we will get our team out there. We cannot be everywhere, and we are not watching every pothole on the 143 miles of street that we have here in Monterey. So we depend also on your feedback. Thank you so much for that. Last but not least, on Saturday, April 22nd, we will display over 1,800 flags on the Colton Hall lawn in honor of those whose lives have been affected by opioid addiction. That is a partnership that we do together with Community Human Services and Montage Health's Prescribe Safe initiative. We're very proud that we are part of that team, that we can support them and use the beautiful Colton Hall background and the lawn as part of getting the message across. Mayor Williamson will be attending as well, and will speak a few words about that. That's all what I want to share with you. I hope everyone is doing great. And as always, as I always say, it's a privilege to work in the city of Monterey, and it's a privilege to be serving all our residents and our businesses. Have a wonderful day, unless you have different plans. Bye-bye.